Hello everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the accelerator pedal position sensor on a 2000 ML320. Ours happened to have failed over this past weekend. The mode of failure was the throttle stopped responding, and whenever we played around with it to see if we could get it to start responding so we could limp it home, because we're only about 3 miles away from home, the sensor failed at 100% throttle, so the engine started bouncing off the rev limiter. Not a good thing to have happen, and it's quite surprising that the sensor can fail in that mode. So I'm going to replace it. In our particular case, our vehicle takes part number 012-542-3317. As you can see, we source our parts from AutoHouse because they're local to us. And in addition to that, I have some contact cleaner here, Deoxit. I'm going to use that to clean the connector just to make sure everything is corrosion free and as functional as possible. So I'm going to go over to the vehicle, see what we need to do in order to pull the old sensor out, and I'm going to show you how to recalibrate the system and all of that, because in order to replace the sensor, you do need to recalibrate the system and relearn the idle and full throttle positions for the accelerator pedal as well as the throttle body, the relation between those two parts. So, as I said, I'm going to go over there and walk you through the process. Okay, so in order to remove the accelerator pedal position sensor, what you're going to need to do is pop off this E-clip up here. This holds this pivoting bracket, which has the accelerator cable hooked to it, as well as the spring. That holds that to the accelerator pedal position sensor itself. So once you've popped that E-clip off, this bracket's going to come up and pivot out of the way, and then from there you're going to be able to take out these two 10mm bolts. The sensor will come off the back side of this plastic bracket, and you can unplug it and put the new sensor in. So I'm going to do that swap operation really quick, and I'm going to come back and talk to you about how to reprogram or relearn the ECU for the new sensor. Alrighty, so you can see we have the installation of the new sensor completed now. It was very, very simple. We just plugged the connector back in, screwed in the two bolts, tightened those good and snug, put the arm up here back on, the one that's attached to the cable, and put the E-clip back on. Now you'll notice we're missing the spring here. That's because I dropped it when I was working on it. So a good tip is to take this off. I thought this was held on by this E-clip right here. Turns out it's not. It's just hooked around this little bushing right here, and then it hooks into the plastic bracket here. So I recommend that you take that off probably before you start this entire job, just to make sure you don't lose it, because it is definitely a very easy piece to lose and a very hard one to locate once it's dropped down into the engine bay. So I'm going to throw this spring back on and walk you through the calibration procedure. The final step in installing the throttle position sensor is calibrating it to the ECU. And in order to do that, the process is very simple. You don't need any special scan tools or anything like that. Once you have everything connected and reinstalled, what you're going to do is put the key in the ignition and turn the ignition to the on position without starting the vehicle, and let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes. If you want to be on the safe side, just let it sit for 5 minutes, go make yourself a quick coffee or something. And what you'll hear is the electronic throttle body actuator firing up. You'll hear a whining noise coming from the rear of the engine, and you'll hear it actuate itself a couple times. Open, close, set its open point, set its close point. So once you've let it sit, you should be able to start the vehicle right up, and everything should be working perfectly. It might run a little bit differently than it used to because A, the sensor is replaced and working properly now, and B, because the set points may be a little bit different, but the ECU should adjust and acclimate to the brand new sensor with no problem. So it's a pretty easy install. Assuming that you have the sensor on hand, it's really easy to swap. It takes maybe 10 minutes or so, assuming you don't lose the spring like I did. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.